October 7th, early morning, Itay Shabi and his wife Moran woke to a nightmare. The sounds of rockets and bullets tearing through the air above them. By 6:30 a.m., everyone in Kibbutz Beeri, a small, close-knit community near Gaza, was shaken awake. This was no ordinary day, and certainly no ordinary attack. It was the beginning of war, one that would test the strength and faith of every family in Beeri. Kibbutz Beeri had always been a place of kindness and peace. Families in this community had a history of showing compassion even to their neighbors in Gaza. Many of them, including Itay, would often drive sick children across the border to receive life-saving treatment at Israeli hospitals, sitting with them as they healed, and then taking them safely back home. This kind of compassion was their way of life, a deep-rooted belief that kindness crosses boundaries. But on October 7th, that sense of safety and goodwill shattered. The community they had helped and supported now seemed like a source of unimaginable danger. Imagine the betrayal they must have felt, realizing that those they had once helped were now threatening their very existence. As the rockets kept coming, Itay knew he had to act fast to protect his family. They rushed to the bomb shelter, initially leaving the door open, hoping they might escape if the attack slowed down. But as the explosions continued, they realized this wasn't going to pass quickly. They shut the door, praying that the chaos would end soon. Then Itay's phone buzzed with messages from friends and neighbors. There are terrorists inside Kibbutz Beeri. Texts and photos began pouring in, each one showing the horror outside more vividly than the last. Soon they had heard voices, shouts in Arabic, getting louder with each moment. Imagine the fear they must have felt, trapped with no way out. Just after 7 a.m., someone knocked on the door. Not a forceful, violent knock, but a soft, almost calculated one. Itay said the following: "It felt surreal, almost like they wanted us to believe everything was okay. I thank God I didn't open the door." By 10:30 a.m., the terrorists broke into their house. Itay held his family close as their dog began barking, trying to protect them. The intruders responded by firing several shots, determined to silence the dog. Clenching his hand on the bomb shelter door handle, Itay whispered the Shema prayer, a prayer recited in times of fear, calling for God's protection. Imagine the strength it took to hold that handle for 30 minutes as the terrorists tried to pull it open. Itay later described feeling a strength beyond his own, as if an invisible hand was helping him keep that door shut. Was it pure determination, or was it something more, something divine? When the terrorists couldn't get inside, they set tires on fire, pushing them into the bomb shelter's vent. Thick, black smoke filled the small room, choking them. Itay's heart raced. He knew they couldn't stay there much longer. Itay said the following: "I told my wife we have no choice. We'll have to surrender. We can't breathe in here anymore. But when I tried to open the door, I couldn't. The handle was broken. They had trapped us inside." With no other choice, Itay decided to open the tiny window of the bomb shelter, even though he thought he'd be shot the moment he did. He took a deep breath and opened it, but miraculously there was no one in sight. Climbing out, he reached back to help his wife and children. They found a small, sparse palm tree and crouched beneath it, praying it would be enough to hide them. For hours, Itay and his family lay under the scraggly palm tree, barely daring to breathe. Terrorists moved around their property, stealing everything they could. People they had once helped were now tearing through their belongings. At one point, a terrorist's leg came within inches of Itay's body. Yet, he walked by without seeing them. Was it just luck that the terrorists missed them? Or was there something greater? Was God guiding their eyes away from Itay and his family? Think about that. Imagine how close they were to danger and how, against all odds, they remained unseen. It gets even more incredible. Just days before, Itay had cut branches from this tree to build his first sukkah, which is a temporary shelter built during the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, symbolizing trust in God's protection. The sparse tree wasn't an ideal hiding place, yet it kept them safe. Itay believes that building this sukkah may have brought them divine protection. How often do we stop to think that the simplest acts of faith, small, even ordinary acts, might lead to miracles? Hours later, they realized they couldn't stay hidden. Grabbing their children, they started running. Then a terrorist spotted them and began to shoot. Bullets whizzed past them, dangerously close, but somehow none found their mark. They dove onto the ground, pulling loose branches over their bodies, hiding again for another 5 hours. Think about this. With bullets flying all around them, none touched them. Coincidence or something more? As night fell, another miracle arrived. Itay was standing up looking around when he saw red lights in the distance. His heart froze. Was it a terrorist jeep? But then he heard voices in Hebrew. It was an Israeli rescue team. He cried out, "Help us! We're here!" Days later, a soldier asked, "How did you know where we were? We were on a secret mission." Itay responded, "I saw the red lights of your jeep." The soldier looked puzzled. "We didn't have a jeep," he said. "We came by helicopter." So what did Itay see that night? Was it just his imagination? Or was it a divine sign guiding him to safety? Returning to their kibbutz, Itay found his home in ruins, everything destroyed. But his sukkah, the one he had built for the first time, was untouched. The fire had stopped exactly where the sukkah began, as though some invisible force had protected it. Itay believes this was no accident, that his act of faith had shielded them. Itay holds fast to one belief. There is a God who watches over us. His experience isn't just about survival. It's a reminder to find strength through faith, compassion, and unity. Imagine, he says, that each of us, no matter our differences, is here to walk together. So what do you think? Was Itay's survival a series of coincidences, or do you believe these were miracles, moments where God's hand intervened? Was it God who blinded the terrorist eyes, keeping Itay and his family hidden? The miracle in the story is just one of many that took place on October 7th and in the days and months that followed. If you want to hear more stories of courage and miracles, please subscribe to our channel. And if this story has touched you, consider showing your support by clicking the thanks button below. Together, we can keep sharing these inspiring stories of faith, resilience, and hope with the world. Thank you.